be, different routes, navigation, geography, astral sciences, study of stars in the sky. You're getting me, Kirti, what I'm trying to say? Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
yeah. So this is a pretty big area. And suppose at the end of the class, I mean, by another 10 days, like you, there are about one or two more people from ocean engineering. So we can have a small section on ocean engineering where you come up with a twin contribution. Aki, to be shono, just see what I'm saying, whether it makes sense or not. So Kitty and this team will find out one special area from the past of India's marine sciences and technology, navigation sciences and technology. I mean, you cannot take every topic and write a general stuff. I mean, you may have about one page. So, Aki, this is important. One page about a general introduction of India's navigation and ocean engineering sciences, and then one or two pages on a specific areas of India's past, and then one or two pages on a possibility of a future contribution, that what are the areas which we can pick up. For example, in ancient times, there was a lot of navigations with regard to stars. So today we are more driven by electrical sciences, wireless communications. So our connection with the cosmos, with the universe, has largely decreased. Are you getting me, Kirti? Kirti, are you getting me?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
because we are mostly driven by signals which are traveling within the terrestrial or the geocentric realm. We don't have a heliocentric or a cosmocentric. That science is all lost. So the use of compass, which were based on stars, navigations, and the connection, those have taken a back seat. So this progress, to an extent, could be very good, undoubtedly. But this progress, on the other hand, could be actually a regress. It could be a negative function. So maybe you can write about a 2-page plus 2-page plus a 2-page. You and two or three people, if there are in the Navy, in the ocean engineering, and then you can contribute a more generic thing. So that will be like a submission before the midterms. Aki, you are getting me? Briddhi, you
Yes,
are getting
so
me? Yeah.
sir, we can like for this writer where
Yes.
initially there will be a generic description of the different an idea about the history of Indian I should say our Indian systems of navigation.
Yeah.
That will be discussed, and within that entire system a part specifically
Yeah.
the students can pick up a specific part
A very
and they can
specific part, and they can expand and find out
and
what's
find
happening
out
right.
the also the linkages in the modern times.
Right.
So
Kitty, yeah, Kitty, why did Kitty leave? Maybe a network problem. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Actually there
And
is a lot of
so
rain going on here.
yeah, it's about 2 pages plus 2 pages plus 2 pages, and one page, the seventh page is of references, and perhaps one page of of figures, visuals. So instead of distributing the visuals throughout the text, we'll concentrate the visuals in one page. Are you getting me? It becomes very clear. It becomes very clear. Yeah. Instead of distributing the visuals throughout the text, we'll just concentrate all the visuals in one page. So it's like 2 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1. So Aki, you may kindly note this. So
Yes.
everybody submits around 7 pages, and then we can edit this. And so if there are about 400 submission, so it's about, hello, yeah,
Yes,
who is it?
yes, sir. Please continue.
Yeah, so Prashant is here. So it's about 400 into 7 or 8. It's almost like it's quite a big thing. It's about 2,000. It'll be almost close to 3,000 pages. Yeah. So what we can do, we can actually edit this properly. It'll take some time, and we can split this into 2 or 3 volumes. Like in one volume, we bring all the physical environmental sciences. In another volume, we bring all the analytical, cosmological, marine sciences. ठीक है ना? In the third volume, we bring the ecological and the economic sciences. So we can broadly make, at least we can have 3 volumes. 3 volumes. So this batch hopefully will produce a 3 volume production from this course. And then in the mid-sems, based on the entire course that they have heard and seen and experienced after every faculty has taken a class, we'll have a different kind of a thing that we are not discussing or deciding today. Okay? Okay, Akhi.
Yes.
Professor Banerjee. Yeah. So there is one domain submission and there is one class driven submission. Class notes driven submission. So one is NSEM, one is mid-sems, one is NSEMs. Okay.
So, sir, this submission ideally would be, say, by middle of September or by end of
Yeah,
September?
it will be just before or after the mid-sems. I mean, there could
say
be
at the end of September.
Yeah, so you decide a date, and with Briddhi and Shrivangi and others, you make a Google Drive and you make a Google checker so that everybody's submission can be checked in. So you can actually make a Google Excel sheet. So whoever submits goes there and checks and puts the date that he or she
So
has
we can do that in actually through Teams only.
Whatever you can do, Google, Teams, anything. Those are secondary. What is important, we have a submission check, and then we have a very clear quant of submission. So what you and I have to do, we have to make the text, whether it's Times New Roman 12, you know, I mean
The
the reference,
formatting, so
the
we can
formatting.
also give
So
them an
yeah,
idea about the
yeah.
basic.
So we should develop a template and give
Huh.
it to the class within the next 7 or 10 days. তুমি একটা ছোট্ট করে, can you make a small template like half a page?
Okay, sir. Yes.
One cover page, then the one generic domain, one specific domain. Just put some dummy text like font size 18, then 16, 14, and 12. 4 hierarchies. And one page where you put some pictures and everything, and one reference page where the font size is 9. Okay. Okay. I mean, I'm just saying. Briddhi, is that fine?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So,
I think there was somebody, Ajit, who was raising a hand for a question.
yeah. No, so let us produce something, then we'll have more questions.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sure.
Let us first produce a template and then let everyone see that template, and that template will actually answer many of the questions, because today we have just initially discussed. We have not finalized anything. So we have done
Yes,
this
sir.
discussion in front of the class. Now in the next 4-5 days, we'll have a look at this template, and this template will be shared on the teams.
Sure, sir.
Okay, so it's about 5:20, and how many people are here today? Can you make a check? Just
Sir, 200 plus.
200 plus. That's fine. Okay, so I'll start within 20 seconds. Just give me 5-10 seconds. Yes, that is Nilesh, who is probably singing. Yeah. So Nilesh, you're a
Sorry,
good singer.
this alto wasn't unmuted. Sorry, sir.
No. Your voice is nice. You have a nice voice. Okay, so can I start with your permission? Hello, Pavan Chandra, Anurag, can I start? Shivam Kumar. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir. You can
so
start.
let's start. Okay, so I'm going to full slide. So everybody can see the full slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'll go pretty quickly so that at the end we have some time to discuss. There are about 80 or 90 slides today, so I have to go a little quickly. So today, the whole discussion is about the development of a pattern which determines the prototype of design in architecture or Indian architecture, which is normally known as the mandala. Can anyone tell me in the class what is the general meaning of the word mandala? Anyone in the class? What does a mandala mean? Anyone in the class?
Sir, sir, there is one thing, sir. Have you? I would request you to kindly make the changes in the meeting option so that everybody else is made as attendees.
Yeah, so I hope that was made by Shanko. They're still not made. So I go to meeting options.
Yes, sir. In meeting options, it should be there.
Who can bypass the lobby? What is the answer?
So only you, I think.
Only me.
Sir,
Okay.
that's different lobbies. If you who can bypass the lobby, that is to join the meeting. You will have who can control presentation like that option.
Yeah, who can present? Who can present? So that will be only
There,
me.
that you change to only me, sir.
Okay.
Just even I was removed, I think, by some of the students.
Oh, so something is still happening. So I'm saving it. So who can present? It's only me. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Allow microphones for attendees. That is yes. Allow camera for attendees. That is yes. And allow reactions. That is also yes. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So I'm saving this. I hope it gets saved. So it is done. So it is done. So now,
Yes, sir.
so now it's done. So now it's done. Okay. So Aki, now tell me whether there is any problem or not.
Okay, sure, sir.
Okay, so
I think
somebody
it is
can
just.
yeah. So somebody can answer.
So,
Somebody answer?
sir,
Yes.
sir, mandala is a symbol like used in Hinduism or Buddhism, like.
Buddhism, or even Christianity, or even Islam. Yes.
Sir, it's
So
kind of a circle.
yeah,
The
mandala. The
mandala is
word mandala exactly means a circle. Who is this?
Sir Mitali.
Mitali, good answer. Yes. Mandala, that's why in planning we say Gram Mandali, Sabha Mandali, Panchayat Mandali. That means it's a circle of people.
So also like geometrical shapes like
Yeah, so it
nowadays
is
we do
a
mandala
right,
painting.
right. So in geometry, it is almost like a cycle. Any other answers?
It's a lot like Alpona in Bengali, sir.
What is that? What is that word you
So
said?
it's a lot like Alpona, sir.
Yeah,
If
Alpana.
there's a
It is yeah, Alpana like a lotus. So what do you
yes, sir,
see in
yes.
lotus? So if you draw a footprint or a footfall of a lotus. So there are centripetals. That means every petal of a lotus is heading for the central, the bud of the lotus. On the other hand, you can also say that every petal is going out of the bud. So one is centripetal, which is the center. The other is centrifugal, which is the periphery. So this kind of a geometrical shape is called a mandala. So the mandala stands for mostly cycles or cyclic agglomerations, or people who are connected through some kind of a cyclic movement or some change. At a very simple level, this could stand for a very physical pattern, so on, so on, and so on, and so on. So today in the entire presentation, the word mandala is a key word. It's like the lifeline of today's presentation. And the entire, believe it or not, the entire idea of cosmic geometry, that how we see this universe, how the universe is reflected on the sea, or on a bucket of water, or maybe as an alpana, somebody just said in Bengali. Some of those diagrams that we still see in South India, if you go to Tamil Nadu or Karnataka or Kerala, if you go outside the house, maybe on the Diwali day or on Lalita Saptami day, you'll find those diagrams. Some households keep on doing these diagrams almost every day in the evening. Am I, are there people in the south who can say whether I'm right or wrong from the south?
Yes, sir. It is done actually in Bangalore.
Yeah, it is done in Bangalore. So Bangalore is a pretty modern, posh westernized city. So if it is done in Bangalore that much, so definitely in the small towns and in the faraway villages, it is even done more. Who was that? Was it Vidya or somebody else? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Riddhi.
Yes, sir, it is done.
Okay, thank you. So this is an icon, which means an iconography, some kind of a symbolism, which has come down to us over a long, long time. Now, the first slide that you see, that we are talking about a reality of cosmic precision. Precision is some kind of a movement which happens around the Earth, or with the Earth around the Sun, and with the Sun around the Earth or around the cosmos, which is a very simple concept to understand, but sometimes it is a very hard concept to comprehend, because these changes happen either over a very small interval of time, like a day and night, or a slightly larger interval of time, like a year. So how do we say that you have almost have had a year? Can someone give me a very simple answer? How do you say that 1 year is complete and now you are going to your next year? Can somebody give me a simple answer?
Sir, by seasons, if the season repeats
Yeah,
again.
by seasons. So how seasons are connected to academic calendar? Can someone tell me? Very simple answer.
So we have like autumn semesters and spring semesters.
Right. So who is this? Who is this?
So
The rise and fall.
Rise and fall. So fall is autumn and spring is rise. I think we have discussed this in a preceding class. So the rise and fall of the solar path on the Earth's surface, so in the northern hemisphere, the sun touches the Tropic of Cancer, and we have the summer solstice, and then the sun drops, and then the sun drops, and the heat starts decreasing, and then we have the autumnal equinox, and then the sun goes away and touches the Tropic of Capricorn. So it's pretty cold in the northern hemisphere because the heat decreases. The cold is the absence of heat. So in the northern hemisphere we have winter. So that time we have winter solstice. And then again after winter solstice, which is something like Makar Shankranti, which is Capricorn in India, the sun again starts turning towards the north. We call it Uttarayan. So Ayan, so the Sanskrit word is Ayan, Ayan, and the Greek word is ion, ION, which is the movement of the atom, and the physics word is aeon, AEON. Did you all get me the three words? The three words? Yeah. So in Sanskrit, we call it Ayan, like Uttarayan, Dakshinayan, like Ramayan, the name of the epic, the travel of Ram from the northern part to the southern part, and then he really recovers Sita and goes back. So that is the whole journey of Ram plus Ayan. The movement of the sun is called Uttarayan and Dakshinayan. And then there are a lot of other things. As I told you in Greek philosophy, the movement, the movement of the volutes are known as ionic volutes. So you have an evolute, which is coming out of the center, and we have an involute, which is going towards the center. So these are very fundamental. These are very fundamental words, which are all over the whole world. Sometimes when we write history, we say after hundreds of aeons. Here the spelling is A for apple, E for energy, O for orange, N for Nashpati or Nagpur, and S for Scandinavia. So that's aeons. So it's time, aeons. So Shakespeare has written in his work, after many aeons, there is a change in the culture. Shakespeare writes that. So this same word, iron, is actually the symbol of mandala. It represents that something which has happened today will get repeated after a day, or maybe after some seasons, which is a year, or it will come back to us after many, many years, like the Halley's Comet or the Halley's Comet. After how many years it enters the solar system? Anybody in the class?
26 years, sir.
68.
What is that?
Sir, 76 years.
76 years. Is there a right answer, class?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's accept that. I don't know the answer. I just ask you. So let's assume after 70 years or 76 years or 77, the helicomet's come. So that means a comet is coming to the solar system and then it gets out of the solar system, travels to the into the galaxy and comes back into this solar system again. So that means there is some kind of an actual force which is not at the level of the Earth, which is geocentric, which is also not at the level of the Sun, which is heliocentric, but it is at the level of the galaxy, which is galactocentric. So that means in this cosmos, there are different cycles. So there are different cycles. What is the smallest cycle that we have in our life with regard to Sun? Answer is very simple. That is someone in the class?
A day.
A day and a night.
Daily
Right.
rotation of Earth.
Yeah, a day and a night. And the next big cycle is a year. The next big cycle is a year. And a cycle which is much bigger than a year is probably a eon. So this eon is sometimes called the precession of the equinox. Now this happens after 26,000 years, a little less than 26,000 years, but we can always round this up to 26,000 years. The Greek mathematicians had actually noticed it, but the Indian mathematics is actually based on it. And it was discovered by the Vedic rishis. It's very astonishing how did they discover. And that precession of the equinox, the cycle of change was actually projected on the Earth's plane. And from the Earth's plane, various structures were built to reciprocate the movement in the sky. So there is a projection of light from the sky on the Earth, and there is a counter response from the Earth back to the sky. No. So that diagram, which explains the relationship between the cosmos and the Earth through the sun, is called a mandala. So that's why the word mandala is used in various sense. It could be a social word like gram mandali, panchayat mandali.
Sir, changing the slide.
No, I am not. I have not changed the slide. I'm still on my first slide. I'll change it right now. Okay, that's a good question. So now I am going to move on to the second slide. So can you read the second slide? Someone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so
The
what
deep
is written?
ecosystem of Vastu Vidya.
Vastu Vidya, which is the mandala. So this is one slide. I took it from another presentation of mine, which I use it in my history of architecture. So what do you see in the left and the right? Can someone tell me?
The left one is, I think, two galaxies merging.
Yeah, actually, they are not merging, but there is somebody who is taking this picture from a distance.
Okay.
Yeah, so who is this?
Sunidhi.
Sunidhi, that's a good answer. So can you imagine who is that somebody who can take this picture? What is so unbelievable while he or she is taking this picture? Can somebody take this picture?
No, sir.
Why? Why?
We have not gone out of our galaxy.
Yeah, that's a pretty good answer. That's an answer from space. From point of view of space, there is another version of the answer, which is as per Albert Einstein.
Happening over a longer span of time, sir. It takes
Yeah,
lots
because
of
it is happening beyond our ideas of time, because whatever we see as our ideas of time are under the speed of light, because it's visible. And this changes because the galaxy itself is probably a few 100,000 light years. Are you getting me? And the distance between the two galaxies for ordinary light to travel from one point to the other and then get the picture like this is something which is hypothetical. But this is happening. So this is unbelievable. This cannot happen. So there are mechanisms in the universe where the mechanism is definitely traveling beyond the speed of light. So this was a debate which I wanted to, I think I showed it to you last class, if I'm right or if I'm wrong. That is a debate, that was a debate between Albert Einstein and Niels Bohr. Niels Bohr. Einstein said that there cannot be a reality beyond the speed of light. Niels Bohr said there could be a reality, but we are not used to that reality, and that reality is not classical physics, it's quantum physics. So that was a birth of quantum physics. And then two great scientists were born after Niels Bohr, Werner Heisenberg and Erwin Schrödinger. and they expanded and the idea of quantum physics, and it went on for the next 30, 40, 50, 60 years with Richard Feynman, Robert Penrose, Stephen Hawking, and others. And today they have come to such a level, they're almost saying something which matches with the Indian ideas and the constructs. So the left-hand side picture is that of the macrocosm, the huge Brahmand. We can imagine this, but we cannot see this, because to see this, we have to be at this level, Can a grasshopper see the whole tree? Yes or no? Sitting on the grass? Yes or no?
No, it
No,
has
sir.
to be.
Yes. Yeah, because the grasshopper is too small to see the tree. But that does not mean the tree does not exist. But human beings can see that tree, because human beings have an optimal size at a certain scale where whether the tree is visible. But if you're moving in a satellite around the Earth, can you see the tree? Yes or no? Yes or no?
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
No. Why? Because now you are at so big a scale that the tree does not exist at your scale. But that does not mean the tree does not exist. So the tree does not exist at the level of the grasshopper, which is microcosm. The tree also does not exist at the level of the satellite. But that does not mean the tree does not exist. The tree exists at the intermediate plane. Now you can inverse its conclusion that the tree actually exists at the level of the satellite, and the tree actually exists at the level of the grasshopper, but the tree does not exist at our level. This is the other side of the picture. So the first picture is that of classical physics. Ki akhi, am I clear? And the second picture is that of quantum physics. Class, am I clear? Class, am I clear? Yeah.
Yes,
Think
sir.
about
Yes,
it.
sir.
Yeah. Think about it. Think about it. So this is the beauty of it. This is actually the beauty of what you call the mandala. This is of the beauty of what you call the mandala. So the mandala is a diagram. A mandala is a diagram which tries to combine these opposites and bring it into one frame as a geometrical diagram, which is very hard to understand, but it makes us understand. That is called the mandala. So this was done in Indian architecture, which is a combination of astrophysics, positional astronomy, geometry, projection, astral sciences, navigational sciences, physical and environmental sciences, mathematics, and topology. So all these sciences which have evolved today was known to Indian rishis or whatever, the scientists in the past, and they came out with this idea of the mandala. So I am going to the third slide. So can somebody read this slide and tell me what is written in the top?
Layouts and experiments.
Layers and experience. So the mandala is actually a layer which is, and right in the center, if you can see my cursor, there's a picture of a mandala. And this is also called a yantra in Indian cosmology or Indian metaphysics, which tries to arrest this large geometry in a small form. Now, one science of design has tried to arrest this in forms of shapes and buildings, which is the Indian temple, the Mandiram. Mandiram, which is actually the symbol of the human mind. Mana sthiram. So the Sanskrit says, Jatha Jatha Manasthiram, Tatha Tatha Mandiram. That means where and where the mind is calm, there and there you have a temple. So the temple is just not an external geometry. It is actually the reflection of the calm human mind. So if the mind is very restless, then even if you go to a temple, it does not make any sense. It is just a ritual. Whether if you are going to a mosque, it does not make a sense. If you are going to a church, it does not make a sense, because I still hate the person of another religion. And if I still have hate in my heart, I'm not a religious person. But if my mind is calm, then I develop love, empathy, altruism, and universal assimilation. So this is meditation, and all this is converted into a physical scale, which is actually the Indian form of design. Indian form of design. Is somebody recording this? Yeah, yeah. Nobody's recording this. Okay, fine. So
the recording is on, I think.
okay, fine. Okay, fine. Yeah. So what you see is some plans of temples and the elevations of temples, sections of temples, like the way you have plans of a temple and the elevation of a temple. So these temples are nothing else but geometric projections of different states of human mind. So human mind is fossilized or made into stone in the form of a temple. So this is actually the layout, which is actually a human experience, I am going to the next slide, and it also says layouts and experience, but you see something else. So can someone read what is written niche mein?
Basilica Chaitya Hall.
Yeah, so what is a basilica? Can someone tell me? Anyone in the class? What is a basilica?
Sir, is it a type of a bacteria? Like a that shape bacteria or a virus, I guess.
No, I mean the shape could be like a bacteria, but it's not a bacteria. Okay. Yeah, somebody else?
So this is a Roman Catholic Church.
Right. Basilica is the earliest form of Christian church. It is the earliest form of Christian church. Later point of time, it changed a little bit. And what is the Chaitya Hall? Anyone in the class?
So it is a hall-like structure in Buddhist architecture.
Yeah, so it is the earliest form of Buddhist temple. So in the top, you see you can see the plan of a Roman Catholic church, a very early Christian basilica. In the bottom, you see the plan of the Karla cave in Maharashtra, which is a Buddhist Chaitya Hall. Are there any similarities between the two? Yes or no?
Sir, actually, basilica is not only a church. Actually, basilica is now also is there. Basilica means where bishop will be there.
No, that is a much later meaning. The word basilica comes from an ancient Turkish word which means asili kaya. Kaya means body, and asil means horse. So it is the body of a horse, and horse is a symbol of meditation. It's about 2000 years older than the birth of Christ, the origin of the word, basilica. It's a Hittite word which originated even before the Olympian civilization. So the word basilica has been derived from the pre-Christian world into the Christian world. And the word Chaitya actually comes from the pre-Buddhist world. Has become. So the similarity is that of the apse, the half circle in the end. Both the Christian church and the Buddhist basilica ends with an apse, which is the half circumambulatory, which is the nave.
So actually, they are merging like in every temple, like everything is merging in the center too.
Yeah, everything is merging in the center. That's called the in the temple. It's called the nabhi, Nabhi, and in the Christian church it's called the nave, Nav. The origin of the two words are the same. For example, if you see on the top, on the left you see the earliest Christian cross, which is the Greek cross, and in the top right you see the earliest Buddhist Bajra, which is four tridents, and there's a striking similarity between the two systems. So this is the earliest symmetrical cross which originated in Byzantium Church, which is the birthplace of Christianity in Asia, not in Europe. And this is the symbol. So I'm not getting into Christianity and Buddhism right now. What I'm trying to say is that in these shapes you have a center and you have a circle around it. So that is the mandala. And this is how the St. Peter's Church was actually built on an older basilica, and the older basilica was actually built on a pre-Christian catacomb, which was used for solar worship. The Romans used to worship some kind of sun god before that. So on which the St. Peter's Church was built. So the original St. Peter's Church underneath is actually a rock cut catacomb, which was used by Christian monks at a very early point of time, because in the early years, Christianity was not the religion of Europe. The Romans were against it. And then something happened, it became the state religion of the Roman Empire. So that's history. But what I'm trying to say is that in these symbols, you see the mandala, you see the center, and you see the periphery. Let's go to the next slide. What is this? Can somebody react? Can somebody read this slide?
It's a temple formation planning scapes and international diaspora.
Yes, diaspora. So this is actually So this is actually the symbol of the mandala in a 3-dimension. You don't not only see it in the 2-dimensional plane, but you also see it in the form of a 3-dimensional plane. If you see the diagram on the left, do you see something inside? What do you see?
Sir, a man meditating.
Yes. So the entire pyramidal form, which could be either an Angkor Wat pyramid or a Sumerian ziggurat or an Egyptian pyramid or a Mayan pyramid or a Buddhist chaitra, it is actually the symbol of the human form, the microcosm. That means the man who is meditating is converted into a geometrical form. So if you go up over the man, you see the center, the spinal cord, and the orbs are all around it. So these are sacred geometries which has been developed by various religions. See, today we are having a quick class because we are not doing a detailed course. There are other portions. So I am just giving you a brief introduction to some of these. So these are ideas from Tibetan Buddhism, which are based on their stupas. And the mandala has been used to configure various stupas of Tibetan Buddhism. So you can see there are a lot of notes and detailings. We are not getting into that. Let's go to the next slide. Can you see some of this? Can you see what is written here?
Astral formation, solar invictus, and renaissance.
What do you mean by solar invictus? Can someone say? What is solar? Solar means sun, and invictus means? Invictus means victorious. So the sun after the winter solstice comes out victorious after the month of December, and then the sun becomes hotter and hotter, and that's what spring is. So these celebrations are very ancient celebrations for about 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 years in India, in Sumeria, in Egypt, in ancient Europe. Can you just hold on? I'll take this phone. পণ্ডিতজি আমি একটা ক্লাসে আছি, আমি একটু পরেই আপনাকে ফোন করছি। হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ ঠিক আছে। So the solar invictus is actually the symbol of the sun's victory over winter and coming out. So in India it is called Makar Sankranti and things like that, or whatever it is, and in different parts of India. So this became the very idea of the sun god, solar invictus. So what you see on the top are different sun gods which were worshipped in Rome and Persia. And some of these ideas were accepted by Christianity. So that is why the winter solstice was accepted. The December to 25th was accepted as the turning point of the sun and also the turning point of Christianity, which is Easter, which is in spring. So much of this symbolism is actually a part of a structure. Can someone identify what is this structure? Anybody has seen this structure before? This slide mein jo dikha de raha hai, what is this structure?
Vatican City.
This is Vatican City, designed by Michelangelo. And this structure, there was something which existed in the center. Can you identify? This is a solar obelisk which comes from Egypt. And another obelisk was taken to Washington, DC, which exists in Washington, the District of Columbia. So some of this pre-Christian or pagan symbol became a part of Christianity and also Protestant Christianity in United States of America. So if you see the floral scape, can you see the floral scape? Is it visible? Yeah. Can you see the diagonals? Can you see the diagonals?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So these 4 diagonals are the points of the 2 equinoxes and the 2 solstices of the sun around the earth, which is the cause of winter and summer, spring and autumn, which is a dynamic. So this is the Vatican City. So the layout of the Vatican City is actually based on this. So this is a wonderful case study of a mandala in Christian architecture. The mandala became very important in Gothic architecture, particularly in France, because most of the Gothic church are based on mystic cyclic symbols. In fact, the word church, which is from an ancient Latin, German, or Hittite word kirk, K-I-R-K, which means circ, C-I-R-C, which means circle. So the word church actually means the word circle. Chakra, chakra. The word charka or chakra is actually standing for the word church, because some of the earliest churches of Eastern Church, Byzantium, were pure circles, like the Byzantium churches. Okay, I am going to the next slide. Anybody knows which one is this?
Pondicherry, Matre Mandir.
Yeah, this is specifically Auroville, which is an extended portion of Pondicherry, built by Mother Mira Alfaza of France. And this is a symbol of the macrocosm. In Buddhism, you have seen, I'll go back to the slide. Can you see this slide? Yes?
Yes, sir.
I'm back to the Buddhist slide. So in the Buddhist slide, do you see the whole dome? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Do you see the whole dome? Dome is like a
No,
ball.
no.
No,
You
sir.
see,
It's like half.
you see half the dome. That means the upper half of the dome is up outside and the lower half of the dome is inside, which means the upper half is in the celestial heavens and the lower half is in the terrestrial plane. But in this diagram in Auroville, both the halves has been raised. Can anyone explain what does it mean? If you can give me an answer, I'll give you a chocolate when you come back to IIT Kharagpur. Or Molidi will treat you with a nice hot cup of coffee. Molidi, you're there. I've seen your name.
It's kind of emerging from the earth.
Yes, sir.
Ah, it's kind of emerging. That's a very good answer. Who is this?
Bharat Chaudhary.
Bharat. So that means
Yes.
the celestial plane is already in the celestial plane, but the material of the earthly plane has also come out of the earthly plane and it has merged with the celestial plane. That means both the celestial plane, the upper half and the lower half has been divinized. That means it becomes the kingdom of God. That means even this earth is expressing the idea of God. This is the idea of Sri Aurobindo, the supramental, and that's why it's called Hiranyagarbha, the golden egg. So this is one idea of the mandala, and it's portrayed in the geometrical of the 12 seasons or the 6 spokes of the 6 seasons of India, the 12 months, I'm sorry, and the 6 seasons and the 4 powers of the divine Shakti or the mother. I'm not getting into detail because we don't have time for this, but if somebody is interested, I can always take a special class later. Chalo, next class. Can somebody identify? Akhiti, do you know which picture is this on the top right? You're not supposed to know, but which picture is this? Or anybody knows? Ye kya hai? Anyone in the class has seen this picture? It's already written in the slide. Riddhi? Hello?
Yes, Arkur Shanti.
Arthashastra, designed by Paulo Soleri. Yeah. So Santi means sanity. Santi means sanity. In Latin, it is known as sanati, sanity. And in Sanskrit, it's known as Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti. That means a hallelujah. Sanity, sanity, sanity. Peace, peace, peace. It's from the same origin. So this was built by great architect Paulo Soleri in Arizona, the city of the sun, which follows some of the Indian and Mayan principles of the solar god. And this picture in the left is by me, which is from my book. I have this picture almost in all my books. These are the 12 spokes of the sun. And the 12 spokes of the sun can be projected on a linear plane. So if you project the 12 spokes of the sun, you get about 7. You get about 7 points, and the 7 points finally converge into a 1. So these are properties of physics. Can someone in the class tell me what in physics is this? The property of light, 1 becoming 7 and 7 becoming 1. Huh?
Light, sir.
What is that? Hello? Can you be louder?
Sir, the dispersion of light, sir.
Yeah, dispersion of light. Actually, the word starts with D. It is also another
Spectrum.
word. Spectrum. But this phenomena is known as
Diffraction.
diffraction. Who is this?
So, Pratik.
Can everybody unmute and give him a big hand? Great. So this is the science of diffraction. So you can see that the 12 spokes of the sun gets projected as 7 colors. The rainbow, the covenant of Judaism. Rainbow, the covenant of Ramayana, Ramdhanu. Rainbow, the covenant of Rig Veda, the 7 sages, Saptarishis. Rainbow, the covenant of music, the 7 chords. Rainbow, the covenant of geometrical pi, 22 by 7. And that is how it's all connected. And they finally converge into a point which is the 8th point. It's called the 8th king. That's why in the Bible, in the New Testament, in the last chapter, Revelation, St. John, he is the son of thunder, ZB, he calls Christ as the 8th king, the 8th king. The 7 churches and the 8th king. It's described in the book of Revelations. So all religions in the world follow the same pattern of the mandala. St. Augustine used to call this the kingdom of God. The kingdom of God is inside you. The Upanishad says, Angushta matra purusham sada jananam hridaya shandivishta. The divine spark is inside your heart of hearts. Christ said, the kingdom of God is inside you. The sages of Upanishad said, Angushta matra purusham sada jananam hridayam, heart. Angushta matra purusham, it's inside you. So the whole practice of the mandala is to bring out that divinity. This all temples and geometry is an expression. So Indian architecture is actually an expression of that. So these are some representations of the mandala. These are some representations of the mandala. So you see the mandalas in the big scale and you see the mandalas in the small scale. So can you identify some small mandalas from this picture? One of the smallest mandala, what is there in this picture?
Atomic circle.
Atomic circle. Who is this?
Gyanendra.
Gyanendra, you are truly Gyanendra. You are Indra in your Gyan. So let's give a big hand to Gyanendra. And what is the biggest mandala in this picture?
So the Milky Way.
The Milky Way. The Milky Way. Who is this?
Kirti Prakash, sir.
The Kirti Prakash and Gyanendra. Give a big hand to wonderful. So that means the mandala pervades the whole universe, from the macrocosm to the microcosm. And so Swami Vivekananda said, you can put it on Google and search. The macrocosm and the microcosm are built on the same plan. The macrocosm and the microcosm are built on the. So now you may mute yourself because I'm getting some noise. Can everybody mute yourself? Yeah. Yeah, and you can. I think some people in the class need to be muted.
Ananya Das, please mute yourself. No, you can manually mute the participant.
Yeah, I think I'll have to do that. How do I do that? I have to learn this.
So there's a mute on option.
So just go to the list of participants.
List of participants. Yeah, there's a mute all, no? Okay.
Yes, sir, mute.
Not mute all, you can select one person, unmute that person.
Yeah, but if I mute everybody,
So, but you can now mute all.
You can just select one person
Just select one person. Anyway, I think let's go ahead. Yeah, it's fine. I think this is a disturbance. Okay, let's go back. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. So fine. So this is the representation of the mandala. So that brings us to cosmic physics. And can someone tell me what is happening on the right hand side? What is this? Physics में क्या बोलता है इसको?
Gyroscope.
Gyroscope.
Lot of answers came. So what is a gyroscope? A gyroscope is a movement in two axes. Am I right or am I wrong?
Yes.
So it is like is there a small example of this that you see every day? No, small kids play with this. ये क्या बोलता है?
Top.
Yeah, the top. बंगाली में बोलता है लट्टू. हिंदी में क्या बोलता है वृद्धि?
Sir, Hindi में भी लट्टू.
लट्टू ही बोलता है. So the lattu. So lattu is the biggest example of this. So this is called the precession of the equinox. So the lattu is moving around the axis, and while it is moving around the axis is also moving around another point. So the whole thing is revolving, but the axis is also revolving around another hypothetical circle on the top. So the Earth is actually revolving around the sun, and the magnetic axis of the Earth, and the North Pole and the South Pole, is also slowly moving from the north to the south, and then again it comes back to the south, and it takes about 26,000 years to reach that point. So when that is happening from the Earth, if today I see the pole star at a certain position, and if I can say it is 93.95 knot, then tomorrow it will be 93.965 knot, and day after tomorrow it will be 93.9653 knot. But to get 96.5 knot, how many years I have to wait so that it again comes back to that same position? Based on what I said?
So 26,000.
26,000
Yeah,
years, sir.
so it will take about 26,000 years to come back to that position. Now this is something which is the design of the cosmos. And ye bahut bada baat hai. This is called the precession of the equinox. And there are evidences of these in the earliest literature of India, which is the Rig Veda. And today I'll go very fast from here, otherwise I'll take up a lot of time. And today, the scientists from Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, TIFR, from IIT Kanpur, IIT Kharagpur, and different places, in collaboration with Microsoft and other Japanese companies, has produced softwares which are known as planetarium softwares. So in the ancient text, if there are descriptions of a particular position, that a certain star in the galaxy was visible at that point of time, and the constellation of Orion was visible at that angle, and the Ashwini Nakshatra was rising in the dawn, then if you put it in the software, and the software will say this event was visible about 5,100 years back, that is about 3,100 years BC, and this is exactly the year when Pitamaha Vishya had died on the field of reeds, Bhishir Sharasajwa in Mahabharata. So while Vishwa, has everyone in the class heard about Vishwa? Vishwa, who was the grand uncle of the Kauravas and the Pandavas. So in the Mahabharata, there is an astral description of that. So nobody can imagine that position because it's very hard to imagine. How will you imagine? It was visible and it is written. So that means when you put it in the planetarium software, the dates of the Battle of Mahabharata can be precisely predicted, which is 3,100 BCE. Akhidi, is it clear? Briddhi, Moli, Shivangi? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this is something which is a very powerful evidence which is coming out slowly with the advent of computers, computer algorithms, and computer softwares. So I think you guys are very intelligent. I'll request all of you to browse this on the Google. So this is navigational sciences. And this was actually described, by various scientists and various scientists across the world. But the Indians were very strong in Jyotish or astral mechanisms. And this is a picture. So in the middle picture, you can see in the cosmic cartography, the map of the cosmos, in the cosmic cartography, you can see the red dots. That means the red dot on the left was visible at 4000 BC. The red dot on the next right was visible at 3000 BC. So this was the galactic knot of Earth's max. The red dot, third one, is 2000 BC, 1000 BC, around the time of Christ, around after 1000 years after Christ, and 2000 years, very close to our times. So if such descriptions are there, you can draw it. This branch of science is known as archaeoastronomy. And our former director, Professor Amitabh Ghosh of IIT Kanpur, INSA honorary professor, and one of the honorary members of the Council of Sciences and a member of Stanford University, has written a scientific book on this, and he's an advisor to our Indian knowledge system. So this is a point which is coming out and strengthening the dates which otherwise have been manipulated by Western scholars. So if dates of Mahabharata goes back to 3100 BC, then that is the time of Gita. And the Upanishads were written before that. And much before the Upanishads, the Vedas were written. That means the Aryan invasion at 1700 BC is a false thing. Because the Aryans, if they had come from outside, they came to India and they contributed nothing. Because the Vedas and Sanskrit and Mahabharata and Ramayana existed 2000 years, 3000 years, 4000 years, 6000 years, 7000 years before any fictitious, erroneous, falsified Aryan invasion myth had emerged. So this is a great scientific proof that is coming in our hands. And this is called the precession of the equinox. So here there's a geometrical description of that. So you guys are all people of science and technology. I'm not reading by line. So this is how the Earth is actually revolving around the sun. And at the same time, after 26,000 years, it repeats the same cycle and it goes back. So you see this? So if you take different positions of the Earth, you get different petals. Moli, bujhte bachcho? Moli, can you see? Moli, if you're around.
Yes, sir.
So if I freeze a picture at 2000 BC, I get one petal position. If I freeze a picture at 4000 BC, I get another petal position. If I take all the petals together, I get the lotus. And the lotus becomes the symbol of the mandala. Am I clear to all of you, the class? So the mandala is actually a space-time function over 26,000 years. So this is a science which is coming. This is called the precession of the equinox. So this is what you can see on the top right. So the Earth is actually moving around the sun. That is one movement. But the Earth is also moving around a cosmic point, which is the magnetic axis. And this is happening because of cosmological gravity. So there's 13,000 years from east to west position and 13,000 years to return back to east. So the total movement is something like 26,000 years. And there is one great Mahapurusha. He is actually the guru of Paramahansa Yogananda, if you have heard his name. His name is Yukteswar Giri. He wrote a book on this, which is called The Ancient Divine Astral Sciences. It's called the Holy Science. And this is actually a part of the ancient science of Tamil Sangam, Agastya literature in the south. And this is also a part of the Parashar Shangita in the north, Vasishtha Parashar Shangita in the north, and Agastya Sangita in the south. Because Vasishtha and Agastya are incidentally also the sages of Ramayana. The story of Ramayana starts with Vasishtha, when Ramayana is a little boy, and the story of Ramayana ends with Agastya, because Agastya gives Rama the most powerful power with which Rama destroys Ravana, Aditya Hridayam. So the whole Rama Ayana, the travel of Rama, is between Agastya and between Vasishtha and Agastya. So Agastya remains in the upper half of India, and Vasishtha remains in the lower half of India. So that is the connection between northern civilization and southern civilization of India. There's nothing Aryan or Dravidian about it. These are all false explanation that we need to understand. So I think Molidi is enjoying all this, because I have discussed these things with Moli quite a lot, and we have some YouTubes on the website, so you can go. So if you type my name, I told you last time, and if you type YouTube, you get my website box, and the last two websites are on the last two YouTubes. I'm sorry. So you can have a look at some of these discussions. So if you combine today's discussion with those discussions, you'll get a huge light on ancient and modern India and its chronology. Okay. So this science was actually discovered by Aryabhatta, rediscovered by Aryabhatta, Surya Siddhant, in the medieval age. But there's some good British and Scottish mathematicians like John Playfair, Henry Thomas Colebrook, Olin Chaddock Wilson. Olin Chaddock Wilson was a very famous person, and he almost accepted most of the things that was predicted. And in collaboration with Vainu Bapu, an Indian astronomer, he also showed that there was a correlation between the width of the stellar spectra and star luminosity. And the another person was Francis Wilford. So these are the people, some of the good Britishers who contributed to archaeoastronomy in India. Then some of the old pioneers were John Henry the Pratt, and he contributed a lot. But one of the greatest contributors of this was no one else but the author of Bande Mataram. Bande Mataram. That is Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay. And Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay contributed a lot to Indian mathematics and astronomy. Normally we don't do that. And then later it was developed by a great man called Hermann Jacobi. Hermann Jacobi, and he actually calculated a certain position on the ancient India text of Rig Veda and Atharva Veda, and he predicted that that portion is anywhere between 4500 BC to 2500 BC, which is at least 1500 years prior to the Aryan invasion. So a Western scholar has already proved this. And finally this was confirming the preceding works of Aryabhatta. So can you see these slides? As I am changing? Can you see the slides?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So these are the two scientific books. So the last book on the bottom right is by our former director, Professor Amitabh Ghosh. Professor Amitabh Ghosh, who is a great scholar, and he was an advisor to a science and heritage initiative. And these are some of the other great scholars who are all listed here. You can see Professor Bhalia of TIFR as the third person. So they have worked on the Rig Veda 7th Mandala 69.3, and it says that the Ashwinis are coming at winter solstice in the dawn, and they have put it in the planetarium software. And the date of that happening is going back to 7000 BC. That means this is the time of Vasishtha, one of the sages of the Ursa Major, Saptarshi Mandalam, who probably had existed in some form around 7000 BC, or probably he had existed even before, and his sloka was recorded. But this recording is definitely of 7000 BC. That means a middle portion of the Rig Veda is about 7000 BC, about 9000 years old. Now this is something which is very interesting, and it's proved by science. And this is actually developed by two great scholars whose name is B.N. Narahari Achar and also Talgeri, who is a great scholar. So if somebody is interested in all these things, you can actually work on this. And there is a huge work which has been done on this. So this tracing back has been worked, and this is a work which has been done by Professor Amitabh Ghosh. And this talks about a particular group of sages who are from the Atreya group. This is not Atri Rishi of Saptarshi Mandalam. Atreya means from the lineage, and when you put it in the various Microsoft and other planetarium softwares, the software calculates a date of about 8000 BC. So that means this is already a post Saptarshi age, and the post Saptarshi age, the mandala in the astronomy is about 8000 BC. So the antiquity of Indian history is automatically proved by modern science. So this is from Rig Ved Mandala 5th 77 Sukta, slok number 1 and 2, where there's a description of the rise of the Ashwin, the 27 constellations of the moon. The first constellation, Ashwin, in whose name the month is called Ashwin Marsh, which is about October. So all the names of the solar months, the 12 solar months, are based on the 27 lunar constellation. The Islamic calendar is based on the lunar constellation, but Hindu or Indian calendar is based both on solar and lunar calendar. Christian calendar is mostly based on solar calendar as developed by Gregory and the Romans. But in India, you have a combination of both the moon and the earth, which is a complete calendar system, which is missing in other systems. So these are new discoveries which are coming up. And so this is a detailed sloka which I just mentioned, and it goes back to about 7000 BC or even earlier, 7000 BC or even earlier. So this mandala, so can you read this slide if you are with me? Anyone in the class?
Yes, sir.
So what is written?
Evolution of cosmic mandala.
And there's a quotation niche mein. What's her name?
Greater time. Alice Bourne.
Alice Bonner. So I think I mentioned you last class. Alice Bonner was a great artist who came from Paris into India. She was a great friend of Pandit Uday Shankar, the brother of Pandit Ravi Shankar, the maestro on the sitar. And after she came to India, she dedicated her life to Indian iconography arts. And there is a great museum of her. Akhi, you remember? Kala Bhavan? I'm sure
Yes,
you have
sir.
gone. Yes. So you have seen the gallery of Alice Bonner, and she wrote some of the first books on Vastu Upanishads, and she dedicated her life to the studies of cosmic mandalas. And these are the scholars of France and Germany, and this is what they talk about mandala. They say though geometrically the mandala means a circle, but the mandala has been depicted as the ideal concept of order, and it's believed to be an interrelationship between the microcosm and the macrocosm. Because in the Cartesian geometry, you have y-axis and x-axis. So if you go out in this diagonal, what happens to the value of x and y? Does it decrease or increase? Class? In linear programming or Cartesian geometry, if I go along the 45-degree diagonal, does it increase or decrease? Hello?
Increase.
Yeah, because that is normal. With every value of x, y is increasing. But if I put a temple plan at the center, with the center of the temple, and if you're entering the temple from outside to inside, then your experience of the deity, the Shivam or the Vishnu or the lamp in Chidambaram temple, or the Noor in a mosque, or the statue of Christ, or the cross in a Protestant or a Catholic church, will the experience decrease or increase as you approach the center? Answer from the increase or decrease? Increase.
Increase.
So what is the relationship between what we discussed before and what we discussed right now? Can anyone in the class react? So that means the Cartesian geometry is inversely proportional to the temple geometry. Am I right or am I wrong?
Right, sir.
Hello.
Right,
Yes,
sir.
because the energy value of experience increase as you approach the center. Whereas in linear programming, the energy values of numbers increase as you go away from the center. That means you cannot explain temples by using Cartesian geometry. You have to use nonlinear dynamics. You have to use nonlinear programming, cyclic dynamics to understand temple. ठीक है? So that is the beauty of the mandala. That is the beauty of the mandala. I have just tried to explain a thing which needs to be explained in about 8 or 9 hours in just 7 or 8 minutes. So this is what you have to understand. So these ideas of the mandala, as I told you last class, was understood by a Goanese Christian, a man who was dedicated to India, an MIT graduate, MIT New Cambridge, Massachusetts, and he dedicated his life to the understanding of Indian ethos. He was both a Hindu and a Christian, and he's an Indian and he's a Goanese. His name is Charles Correa, one of India's greatest architect. And he recovered the mandala in the design of Jahar Kala Kendra, and he also recovered the mandala in the design of the cultural center at Goa, and he also recovered the mandala while designing the city center at Kolkata. How many of you have seen the city center in Kolkata? Anyone in this class? City center, Salt Lake, City Center 1, Kolkata.
Yes,
Is there
sir.
anyone in the
Sir,
class?
it's
Yes,
the
sir.
Kund
Yes.
area.
So if you,
Yes.
yeah, so the Kund area. So if you come to the Kund area, it is based on the idea of the mandala. It's very ancient and it's so modern. So in India, everything has changed, yet nothing has changed. This is the beauty of India. This is a land of assimilation, which accepts all religions as true. And it accepts all religions as extensions of one higher spiritual truth. Christianity, Hinduism, Zoroastrianism, Islam, and other religions are secondary to the highest religion, which is spirituality. They come as number two. The highest religion of humanity is spirituality, where humanity is unified with his divine existence. And that is expressed in the terms of a mandala. That is expressed in the terms of a mandala. And that is the spirit of India that you need to understand. And that layout you find in the ancient city of Jaipur, built about 300 years back by a Bengali architect. This is actually from a movie which was made. This is not Vidyadhar Bhattacharya original, but some actor did the role of Vidyadhar Bhattacharya. He's a British actor. He's actually from Bengal, and he did the city of Jaipur based on the Navagraha Mandala. Okay, this I think. And then another great architect of India, which is, can someone tell me who is he? The name is given, Christopher Benninger. Vidya, I'm sure you know him. So this is Mahindra United World College in Pune.
Sir,
And
I think the slide is stuck.
Slide is
Yes,
stuck. Can you see now?
No, sir.
No, sir.
We are still at
Slide is stuck where?
slide.
Sir, with the slide on Alice Bonner.
Oh, it is stuck in Alice Bonner. Oh.
Yes.
So now can you see Charles Correa?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir. Sir, you
Let
can
me
just
go for
stop
the
sharing
slide.
and share again. It will work fine then.
Yeah, stop sharing and share again. Just a sec. Just give me a sec. This is the problem with network. Now I'll go a little faster because I've already taken up a lot of time. Okay, I'm sharing. Can you see the slide on Charles Correa? Hello.
No, sir, not yet.
No, sir,
No,
still
sir,
not.
not yet.
ये क्या हो गया भाई? Network? Not yet. I mean, you don't see any PPT. You don't see any PPT.
No.
No, sir.
That's bad. So it's not coming.
You say it's blank actually.
It's blank.
So should I share? I will try.
Yeah, I just add some extra slides, but it's no point because if I cannot show anything, it's better that I show something. Let me try once more, and otherwise I'm trying it once more. Tell me, huh?
Okay.
Has it come? No.
No, sir.
No, sir.
It has not come. It has not. It has not come. Okay.
Not yet. Not yet, sir.
I mean, you see nothing. No PPT.
Yes, sir. No PPT. It's a blank screen.
Oh, then I think it's a network problem. Let me try once more, Aki. Otherwise, you share. Okay.
Okay, sir.
If I cannot do it, is anything coming? No. Oh,
No,
yes.
sir.
No, sir.
Then Aki, I think you shared. It's bad luck because I had some few extra slides in the end.
So you can try
Sir, you have
sharing
to
the whole
allow
screen.
me to share the screen.
Yeah, I have to allow you to share. That's another trouble. So what do? I go to meeting options.
Sir, or you can just click on my name from this list of participants and you can give a special permission.
Yeah, the network is slow. Now the meeting options is also not coming. Networkটা drop করে গেল এখানে হঠাৎ. So even the meeting options is not coming. This is a problem in Kolkata. Something has gone wrong, it says. Hare Bapri Bap. Shivangi.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I mean, I can see you frozen. I mean, you are showing to be live. I don't know why. This is real bad luck. We have already taken more than an hour class, so I never expected this will happen. কি হচ্ছে জানো তো, because my meeting options is I've clicked but it's not coming.
Okay, it's very slow. Net is very slow.
It's very slow.
Sir, can you provide the slide in the Teams, like, so that everyone can like see in their laptop and you can speak?
But yes, but uploading it will take some time because of this.
Yeah, because it's a pretty heavy for PPT. It will take a lot of time, and I won't be able to upload it from my end.
But let me check. Let me check if I can do it.
Sir, one thing we can do that we can start another meeting just in few seconds. Aki, we can start the meeting and.
Yeah, I can go to the main thing, and should I start that meeting and or use Aki? You can start that meeting and we can join it.
Okay. Okay, then I'm doing
we
that.
Can get out. You can start that meeting and you be the organizer.
Okay, sure.
And put us in attendee and I will speak.
Okay, sir. Sure.
Start a meeting and give us that link. Give us that link. I mean, type it on the chat box. I'll go to that. Yeah, now the meeting options has come. Could I? No, it's not coming. It's not coming. I think Aki, you go ahead and do it. So Aki, I'm ending this meeting. I'm closing this meeting. Should I?
Sir, please close this meeting. The meeting has been started in another channel.
Yeah, let me end this meeting. So I'm ending this meeting. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.